So my brothers and sisters, I would like to invite you to join me and we reflect on the first reading that we had and also this responsorial psalm that we have today. In both the texts, the Lord cautions us about the risks of a divided heart, these risks of a divided heart. One that it tries to worship God on one hand and then also to worship idols on the other hand as well at the same time. I remember many years ago as a sophomore and also a freshman in high school, the first year of high school and second year of high school back in Uganda, I read all the Old Testament books, just the way one reads a storybook, just reading it out of just curiosity. Maybe part of it was that I didn't have any other books to read. But it was fascinating to read about the judges and the kings and just to enter into their character and to see what they thought about God and what they were doing for the people. This whole week, we've been reflecting on the kings of Israel, especially King Solomon. Yesterday, we heard that with all the blessings that he got from God through the foundation that was laid for him by his father David, Solomon made the other choices in life that had very severe consequences, not only on his household, but also on the whole kingdom of Israel. As we heard yesterday, he married many foreign wives and he allowed them to come with their religions and their gods. And he also allowed them to set up all sorts of altars in his palace. He's one of those who was a firm believer in unbridled freedom of religion for all in his household. But this didn't go down very well. It just went downhill. So when Solomon's foreign wives influenced the setting up of altars in the kingdom and the worship of different kinds of gods, such as the ones that we had yesterday, Astarte and Milcom and Chemosh and Moloch, the wives also started having religious influence over him too. It wasn't just about them doing their thing. They influenced what he believed, how he behaved, what rituals he performed, and what feast days he celebrated, and also what feast days were pushed around the kingdom as well. And eventually, the spiritual influence spread throughout the whole kingdom of Israel. Psalm 81 that we've just listened or recited, which I heard today, is about God expressing a frustration about what had happened to his people. And as we heard, he says, I am the Lord your God. Hear my voice, please. There shall be no strange God among you, nor shall you worship any other alien god. He's expressing frustration about how Israel had moved on. Well, the people didn't hear the voice of God. They had contracted a kind of a spiritual deafness. And today in the encounter that we had again in the first reading, the prophet Ahijah and Jeroboam meet each other. God had decided to do something and to stop everything that was happening in the kingdom at that time. And in a very dramatic gesture, the prophet took off his cloak and cut it into 12 pieces, each of those pieces representing a tribe of Israel. And he gave 10 pieces to this big official of Solomon and said, take this to yourself, telling him that take part of this kingdom, a huge part of the kingdom. And he only left one tribe that he left for the house of Solomon and David. So my brothers and sisters, from that point on, we ended up with the two kingdoms in Israel. We had the northern one, and then we had the southern one as well. Israel rebelled against the house of Israel, of David, and the kingdom became divided, and a lot started happening from that point on. There are three small lessons that we can be able to stay with for reflection during this day. The very first one is that the story of Solomon and his rule and the direction that he took is the sad story of the tragedy of a divided heart. The tragedy of a divided heart. We cannot serve two masters at the same time. You can't serve God and again worship something else or some other idol on the side. It usually doesn't end well, as we see in the life of the kingdom of King Solomon. The Lord requires total fidelity to him and him alone. And the second little lesson that we also get from this is that small compromises that we make in life also have consequences. What started off for Solomon as an innocent permission in his household of allowing his wives to worship whatever they wanted to worship, whatever gods that they wanted, or to let them set up in his palace whatever altars that they wanted, well, ended up growing into something big and also beyond his control. If we are going to ask God for blessings, we have to accept the boundaries that he sets for us. Solomon pushed the boundaries too far, and he ended up losing the kingdom and also the heritage and the legacy that his father had built for him. And the third little lesson that we have is actually a message of hope for us, that no matter what we've done in life, God's grace still persists in all our circumstances. Even when Solomon decided to do whatever he did and diverted away from God, but God still saved for him one little kingdom, one little tribe. It wasn't all lost. So God has not entirely abandoned us. He still has faith in us. And hopefully we can be able to hold on, to latch on to that, to repair our relationship with him. And we can be able to reclaim our rightful position. Today in our Mass, may the Lord show us the different idols in our lives that we are vulnerable to setting up altars for to worship. There are things that we end up setting up, worshiping as idols, and setting up altars for us to worship. May he heal us of our spiritual deafness so that when he comes, so that we can be able to hear him more clearly, hear his voice well when he calls or when he instructs us. Amen.
Amen.